All right. We are officially live. Welcome to my live stream. I know last week was a little bit different because we didn't go live, but we had a recording, obviously with Mr. Self-Developed David Hammond. So today I got a new guest, and we are live with Mr. Outlier here. What's going on, man?
Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm really glad to be here, man.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to have you on. I think I originally found you, I think I saw your YouTube channel like comment on a couple of my videos, and I checked your stuff out, I believe. But yeah, man, why don't you let the people know who you are, how long you've been doing it, and what got you into it?
Right, so I'm probably about 7, 8 months now in the YouTube game. I have my own channel. I also have a podcast channel where we kind of we bring guests on and whatnot. And yeah, man, I'm into the whole self improvement scene, bettering yourself as a man, becoming stronger, and yeah, just being a better person overall, working on all levels of yourself, all capabilities, and always being like striving to just become better in
Mm,
that sense. But yeah, bro, like sort of similar to yourself in a way. Uh, and yeah, man, I checked your channel out there not too long ago, bro, and it's very good, bro. I have to say, I'm quite impressed with it. I think if you keep it up, man, keep going with the consistency, it's gonna pop off, bro. It's very professional in my opinion.
thanks, man. I appreciate it, and it's try to take some time into it. I definitely like your channel too. You got a nice little vibe going with like the real raw, authentic content. So I'm digging it. I think we have very similar messages, which is why I wanted to bring you on as a guest because a lot of the things that we talk about overlap. Like a lot of the subjects
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and the topics kind of are very similar, which is why I guess it's a perfect segue into the topic that we have today, which is maturing as a man, essentially, like how to step into your manhood. And I have a lot that I could say about this. I have a couple
Mm,
videos I filmed this week that kind of dive into it, but I wanted to open it up asking you, um, what does that look like in your perspective? Like how does a man kind of go from boyhood to manhood?
mm. Yeah, absolutely, man. I think it's about becoming capable on all fronts, gaining knowledge and just improving, right?
Mm,
Because if we compare, like, what is a boy and then what is a man? A boy is somebody that, he can't really provide for people, he can't really protect others. He's just sort of like, he just sort of tags along, right?
yeah.
Um, Now the process into manhood is it can be a quick journey for some, I've noticed, or it can be like a long drawn out journey. And
Mm,
I feel like a lot of it just starts from embracing discomfort, embracing suffering. Eventually, in some part of our life, we're all going to have to come up against it at one stage or another. And I just notice a lot of, let's just call them boys nowadays, are running away from it. They do not want to face the struggles of life. They do not want to get out onto the battlefield and
mhm.
go to war themselves and just improve and just actually chase what they want to chase. They sit back in their house and play video games all day and whatnot, man. You know the story, bro.
Mhm.
uh but yeah, man, that's where I'm gonna start it off, bro. Would you like to add a point on yourself, man? I'm just gonna say from a first point, just struggle, embrace
Yeah.
the struggle.
Mhm. No, I would agree with that 100%. And that's something I talk about in my channel of like guys stepping into challenge, stepping into discomfort. Because I'm sure you've read the book before, Way of the Superior Man.
I haven't finished it yet. I actually have it at the moment, bro.
Dude, like one of my favorite books of all
Mm,
time. And anybody watching this too, I highly recommend you check it out if you haven't yet. But one of the things it says in that book is masculine energy and the way that that thing grows is through
yeah.
challenge. You don't basically like if you tell a guy, "Hey bro, like you're looking a little flubby, like it's not a big deal. Like just maybe get in the gym. You look a little bit better." Like you're kind of praising him doesn't really work as to the same effect as if you told the guy, "Bro, like you're gaining some weight, bro. Like you need to get in the gym.
Mm.
You're getting fat." And like he's like, "Oh fuck, maybe I am." Like, if it like punches you in the mouth, either be like, "All right, I'm gonna step up to that challenge," or I'm gonna back away and not do it. So
Mm.
I agree. I think challenge, discomfort, pain, some type of like temporary discomfort is always really beneficial. And I love what you said about how basically is like providing, like being able to provide for yourself for other people, for your family, for friends, whoever it is, your girlfriend, whatever it may be. I think that is a big indicator of a guy that's more mature as a man. Because like boys, they're not really providing anything. They're kind of like learning, like a sponge.
Yeah.
They're taking
Yeah.
things in. They're trying to take in information and receive things. I think the biggest difference is what you were saying is like giving out to others as opposed to just taking
Yeah.
things.
Providing that value and just becoming useful, essentially.
Yeah,
A great way, like if you actually look at like an actual masculine man, you'll notice he's also surrounded by other types of masculine men that keep him sharp. Have you ever heard the phrase "iron sharpens iron"?
I love that phrase. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And this could just be in like, I don't know, you join an MMA club or a boxing club and you're just surrounded by other like-minded individuals who are just becoming better, becoming stronger, and keeping you like sharp. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think that's a great way to, embrace that masculine energy. Surround yourself with other masculine men that will keep you, up.
Mm. That's a really good point, and maybe we could touch on that for a second, because that kind of brings up in my mind when you say that is like the dangers of having yes men in your corner, where
Mm,
there's just like they think that they're helping you and they tell you what you want to hear, but they don't tell you what you need to hear. And
yeah.
I think a lot of guys get trapped in that, they get stuck with friends that are just like comfortable. They're not actually pushing, challenging them, trying to help them grow because they're not doing it themselves. So how important is that to like have good guys in your corner?
Oh, bro. Yeah, man. Like most men, have an ego. Let's admit it, bro. Right?
Hmm.
And if we don't have people that can keep us in check, I just feel like a lot of people can become delusional
Oh
sometimes,
yeah.
but that's what it's all about, man. Keeping each other in check, keeping each other on point, sharp, and
Hmm.
yeah, essentially just to become the best person possible, so that you can go out there and gain more, win more. That masculine energy you talked about a little bit earlier there in this episode here, man. It grows with experience, yes, and discomfort, yes, but what I've noticed most is it grows through wins and succeeding. If
Hmm.
you look at, MMA fighters or whatnot, man, and you look at their journey, if you look at how many people like they fought and whatnot, with each win, you see them have this different sort of energy about them. They walk different, their heads a bit higher.
Yep.
And each win, they're growing in confidence and they're getting better, man. I've noticed that, man, and it's yeah, something to
Hmm.
think about as well.
Yeah. Because like that's something funny we're talking about the way the superior man. That's something he referenced in there too. Is like masculine energy is all about that progression, that continual climb to success and becoming better. And I resonate with that a lot because I know that I don't like. This is funny because it's like how the men and women are different. It's kind of this brings it up into question as well. Women almost like to just talk about their problems and talk about, oh, well, this is happening. And like they just want to get it out. And like that makes them feel better. And I've said this before in my videos too, but like men, especially like men who are masculine, like I feel better when I notice, okay, I could talk about it all day long, but if I see the change, I feel the change, I know I'm making strides, then I
Yeah.
feel better. Like obviously, like it's good to talk about things, but to really see that progress happen, then I can be like, "Oh, okay, now I'm cool."
Yeah. That's actually a very good fact, man. I actually haven't really heard too much people actually bring that up before, but that's so true, man.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, just sitting around and talking about it, it doesn't really do much, For women, it will,
It
they,
does.
they almost feel like they can offload things onto people. For
Yeah.
men, actually, we're like the opposite. We can take on that. We can actually sit by a woman and she can just talk all day long, and it can just come onto us. It won't really affect us.
Mhm.
We're not really, highly empathetic by nature. Masculinity is kind of like goal driven and just getting out there and fixing things. A man is somebody that can essentially fix problems in the world. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a perfect point too, because like guys that are solution based, guys that can create solutions instead of more problems. And I'm not saying like women are just problem, like they make more problems. It's just like the way that they solve their problems is like just talking about them and
Yeah.
venting and letting it out. Because I have, my girlfriend right now, she tells me a lot. Like she's like talking about some things that she's going through, and I'll try to offer some advice or I'll offer her like wisdom or something. And a lot of times she's like, "I don't really want you to tell me what to do. I just want you to listen to me." And I was like, "Oh, it's just like a
Yeah,
change because like
yeah.
I'm used to talking to dudes all day, like coaching men and like talking to dudes that other coaches, like creators. Like I'm not used to just like, oh, I just have to like if I just listen and in presence, that's what helps her. It's like it's
Mm.
totally, totally different.
Yeah, man, I've had that problem myself as well before, bro.
Yeah.
Constantly trying to fix a girl's problem, bro. I've actually had it one too many times. You'd think I'd learn, man. Well, that's a good
Yeah.
point though as well. Like having you could actually link masculinity and becoming a man into having better relationships with those around you, having that
Yeah.
emotional intelligence, knowing when is the right time to switch on and go to work, yeah, and really knuckle down, and then knowing when's the right time to kind of switch off and be able to relax yourself and to be able to actually, love and to care for somebody.
Mhm.
It's very important to have that balance. And I think too many men today think, to become a masculine and strong man, you need to be always switched on and always,
Yeah.
always putting up that front in a way. But it's not true. I think
Mhm.
I think a man is somebody that can, 1 second he's out in the trenches, yeah. The next second he can be with his son, just yeah, doing his thing. But
Mhm. Dude, no, I agree 1,000%. I'm glad you're bringing this up actually, because like that's what I think creates the fully integrated man, like the well-rounded man that has like all sides of himself. Because obviously, like you said, um, and I think this is an issue that plagues a lot of guys these days, is like they're not masculine enough. They feel a little bit too comfortable. They're stuck in their ways. They're not going out, making moves, making
Mm,
changes. So they're lacking some of that masculine energy. But like at the same exact time, once you get there, you don't want to be in that zone all day, every single second. Like it requires a balance. So I agree. Like what you're saying is like, and this is a little controversial because I know a lot of people in the manosphere don't really talk about this, but I think it's worth mentioning. It's like there is a natural, you want to call it feminine side or just softer side to masculinity. It's there. It's like generative. It can be compassionate. It can be loving and caring for people. Um, People call that feminine, but really it's just kind of being a man that has it all essentially, kind of having both sides and being mature, I think, in both areas.
absolutely, bro. That's facts. Like there isn't one man out there that's 100% masculine.
Oh,
You know,
no
we
way.
all we all have a bit of femininity inside of us, and it's
Mhm.
important, man. Like you said, um, yeah, I just see the rise of some of these, what can you call them, influencers or whatnot, man, and they're preaching masculinity, but they leave out that part now.
They do.
Now, the modern, boy today is very feminized. He's
Oh, yeah.
very weak-minded, very soft, and he needs that masculinity. He needs that, he needs somebody to kind of put him in his place, if that makes sense, man.
Mhm.
And we're seeing like the rise of individuals who have that almost masculine energy, but I noticed they don't really have that almost other side to them, that femininity, that emotional intelligence, right?
Mhm.
Now, all these young boys today are looking up to these so-called red pillars and
Yeah.
whatnot, and they're just giving out terrible advice, man. And it will only
Mhm.
hurt your relationships with women in the future, man. And it will create you to become like a bitter man.
Yeah.
And this is why it's very important to find people who are, who know their stuff, who will
Mhm.
actually preach how to become a proper man. I'm not going to say I'm a perfect man myself, but
Mhm.
we're always learning, striving to become better. And yeah, subscribe to people like Tino over here.
I mean, I would agree because like I've seen a lot of guys out there in the space who they're very very knowledgeable, like they know a lot about masculinity. They preach like discipline, consistency, achievement, dominance, and they're all very good things. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those, but like you're saying, they don't generally tell you the other side of that because there's always a dichotomy happening. There's always the light, the dark, the good, the bad, negative, positive. Like that's just the way life is. And men are no different. And one of the guys that comes to mind as you're saying that is Andrew Tate. Like the dude is like
Mm.
freaking bro's like on top of the world right now when it comes to just publicity, clout. Like dude is everywhere, right? And I agree with a lot of the things he says. He has a lot of good information. A lot of it's very helpful. It's very eye-opening, but he's pretty buck wild. Like he says whatever he wants, and like he's like all the way with certain things. And to your point, that kind of guy is really like he's obviously very masculine, but at the same breath in the same breath, like a lot of the viewpoints he has with women and just success in life can be very extreme, and like the average guy is not going to be living that kind of lifestyle. Like a normal guy
Yeah.
isn't going to have the options of like smashing 50 girls at a time and like having babies with multiple women and this and that and like driving Lambos and all that stuff. It's like that's like very, very, very few men that can do that. And if they do that, you can forget about having family because that's going to be your main focus.
Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah, man. But like I said, like he's polarized and
Yeah.
he sells, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, I just noticed the lack of masculinity in younger men today,
Mhm.
boys, and they see somebody like that and they just look at him like wow.
That's it.
Yeah. And they look up to him and they almost follow him to a T, bro. You see everybody in the comments, top G, top G, top G.
Yeah, literally.
And yeah, man, it's just important to know that it's not everything he says is gonna, apply to you, and
Yeah.
you're not gonna live like that. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Well, the scary thing is too, because like I think I've noticed this and just like Red Pill as a whole, and just a lot of these different creators, it almost turns into like a cult like type of
mm,
following where these boys who are lost, they have no direction, they don't know what it means to be a man, they're looking for that guidance. They follow somebody and then they idolize them and they say, well, this is the ideal man. I need to do everything this guy says, and like everything he says is right. He can never do wrong. And we like like the phrase is like putting women on a pedestal. Sometimes men put other men on a pedestal and they feel like this guy is like almost like godlike and they worship him and everything he says is Bible. And I've noticed that with a lot of creators. Like you said, you go in the comments, Andrew Tate's video, even another guy that comes to mind is like a guy like Hamza. He has a ton of
yeah,
commenters who are
yeah.
like blindly following his advice, and a lot of it's good advice, but they don't even question it. They don't think for themselves. They're very much like in that I'm not gonna say they're brainwashed, but they're very like they're just following his every word.
Oh, bro, I've noticed that so much, man. I actually made a video like a while back, kind of bringing this up, like why are you following these people? Yeah, you need to ask these questions, and what do you want? Like, what do you want from your life? Not
Yeah.
every bit of advice is going to apply to you.
Hmm.
And a lot of these influencers, I'm not going to say Hamza in particular, but I just notice a lot of these people are out to influence you in a way to keep you hooked on their content,
Yeah, exactly.
keep you listening, and a lot of times they can leave out very useful advice
Hmm.
for you. Uh, but you see, the majority of people that follow these influencers, these YouTubers or whatnot, they're usually boys, right?
Yeah.
The process into manhood is when you can think for yourself.
Hmm.
Have your own thoughts, have your own ideas on life, have your own philosophies. They may be different than mine or somebody else's, but having your own set of values, your own set of morals, and having something that you can guide yourself through life with. I think a great one is just having God, man.
Hmm.
Eh, Without God, bro, I just see a lack in people, and I don't know what it is. A godless society it can become a very degenerate society. I
Hmm.
think we need structure and order, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I would second that, man. I live on the West, so I kind of see it
Yeah,
happening in society right now. It's getting a little out of hand.
yeah,
Um, but I wanna touch on that because I don't think enough guys really understand what we mean when we're saying that. Because like, you don't have to be like overly religious. That's not what we're saying. But like God, and you can like everybody has their own interpretation of what that is. It could be like they say, "Oh, well, the universe guides me," or like this guides me. Like I feel like I have purpose, and really what it is just having purpose. It's just knowing that
mm,
like there's a divine power. There's like a higher purpose, higher power guiding through you. And like when creators like us talk about having a mission, having purpose, you're working through that purpose, through
Yeah.
God, essentially. So if you're just a dude who's on his thing and you know what you're doing and you have a strong why behind it and you have a reason that's bigger than you, that's really all we're talking about. And I think that truly does make a man mature and makes him a man.
Absolutely, bro. A lot of people don't have that, that they don't have that backbone within them. They don't have God,
Yeah.
and you can see it, bro. They just kind of appear lost.
Hmm.
They're in the void. When you look into that void long enough, man, everything just becomes dark. And as a man, like there's so many questions about life that we probably will never know. At this stage in life, we don't know, okay? I think it's always good to just put that onto God. Yeah, we can't control everything. And
Mm.
yeah, that's just the truth of it.
Hmm.
Um, I noticed myself when I was younger, man. I always wanted to control things. I always just wanted to kind of,
Yeah.
you know, be like in charge of everything and even control things that I had no control over and I'd never know about, right?
Hmm.
And I noticed I just it just breeded a lot of like anxiety and whatnot. And the minute you can just kind of put that onto God, I feel like you just become much more of a calm person, a more of a relaxed person. And you
Hmm.
can see this in most individuals, man. When they believe in God, their energy shifts, it changes. You have a different
Hmm.
aura about you. And when you're speaking to people, women or other fellow men, they can feel that presence of you. And you can almost inspire others with that, uplift others with that. And it's great, man. We need that in our communities. Too much darkness and too much like looking into the void, man. It can breed a lot of depression as well.
Hmm.
And that's not good.
Yeah. And I think it's something that it's very prevalent today in society with a lot of young men. They are stuck in that darkness, like you're saying. They're stuck in that lost. I like to say they're lost at sea with no compass, no direction. They're in the middle of the ocean and their sails are down. Like it is that there's no guiding wind or anything happening for them, and they're kind of just like lost at sea. And one thing that I I was gonna say about that because I used to be the same way about like being very controlling. And sometimes I even notice myself doing that still to this day. And I think that the reason that happens is because people that want to control the outcome all the time or have that urge to always control things, it's like we almost fear not being in control of something. Like we fear like someone that always wants control fears not being in control. And like
Mm,
I think the natural flow of life and like we're talking about with God is like you have to almost let it be sometimes. You have to almost
yeah.
just let things go. Like have a goal, yes, have something in mind that you're pursuing, but don't be so attached to the outcome because that's what screws people up is being like, "Oh, well, I approached this girl, I need to get her phone number, I need to take her back to my apartment. Like this has to happen exactly the way I have it in my mind." It's like, "Bro, like just be open to whatever happens. Like who cares if that happens or not? Like if you take her home or not, you get her number or not, like just do you." And same thing applies to personal development. Like, don't be so attached to what you think you need to do. Just be open and present to what's happening.
Yeah, you summed that up very good, bro. A lot of times, like people will attach themselves to the end goal and
Yeah.
they'll become depressed essentially. And I think to be able to like further yourself even more, man, you need to learn how to become grateful in the moment and
Yeah,
more
exactly.
present and enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, man. I love the journey, bro. Whether I
Hmm.
make it or not, man, like you know, does it truly matter, man? Like I've learned so much from this. I've become much better, and possibly I've helped others along the way. But yeah, man, and I'm happy in the current moment, and I guess that's all you have, one breath at a time.
Hmm.
Yeah,
It's true. It's true. Yeah, you just have to. That's why I preach meditation. I preach like reflection, going on walks alone, and just being very grounded on my channel because it helps you kind of just let things go a little bit more naturally. It helps you just kind of be a little bit more unattached to things because there's
mm,
an amazing quote out there. It says like you can we're the gatekeepers of our thoughts essentially. So like our brains are going to do its thing. You're gonna have thoughts come in, come out. It's like clouds. They just continually just moving. So you don't have to entertain every thought though. You can see one and observe what it is, take it for what it is, and you can choose to dive deeper into it, or you could choose to back away and say, I don't care, it doesn't serve me. And I think a lot of guys get, and a lot of people in general get tripped up with this because we're so conditioned to just accept the first thing that comes into our mind, or like the first stimulus. That's why the news is so freaking toxic. That's why watching media is so freaking bad, because it's just like it conditions you. First headline, boom, that's what I'm focused on. But meditation kind of teaches you how to just observe and just be like, oh, that's interesting. I can let it go though. I don't have to stay attached to it.
Mm. Yeah, bro, I love that. I love that. And I would link that into becoming a man. You
Yeah.
know, having that good ability to see through the BS, as I
Yeah,
like to call it,
exactly.
bro. Um, we can talk about the modern man today and how they're so, sheep minded, and they just follow, 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 man. What
Hmm.
I've found most, bro, is the more I've kind of relaxed into my masculinity and just kind of, you know, went on the journey of actually becoming better and becoming a man, I noticed I could see through the BS more, and I wasn't as I wasn't as controlled, if that makes sense. I look back
Hmm.
to my past self, I was so like submissive in a way. Like the
Hmm.
government would say something, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's true." I'd just
Yeah.
believe it off the bat, man. And
Hmm.
I noticed like a lot of men today who are coming into that journey, either via, going down the religious path or the self improvement path or whatnot. They're starting to see the false narratives in the media and whatnot. But it's YouTube, so we won't go too far into it. But
Yeah, don't get demonetized though.
but man, that's like what we need to do is stick up for what's right, essentially.
Yeah.
Like what does a boy do? Yeah, he just follows. He likes to fit in, so he doesn't want to say the wrong word. Yeah, you think about when we were back in school and we had all of our little friend groups. We didn't really say too much out of the norm. We just wanted to fit in and yeah, just be friends with everybody, be friends with the cool kids. So we just kind of, you know,
Hmm.
said what was right. But you know, becoming a man, you need to be able to stick up for what's right, and that may be offensive to individuals nowadays, and that may seem like you are crazy sometimes, but
Hmm.
yeah, it needs to be done.
Yeah, man. I agree. And like objectivity is such a very powerful thing for men because we're designed to be logical creatures. Like we're supposed to use our critical thinking skill to our most advantage and to help other people's too, obviously. But like we don't, a lot of guys don't tap into that critical thinking. And I remember this is so funny we're talking about school because it like ties perfectly into it. I remember when I was in school, we would get a test or we'd have a homework assignment or whatever, and then like everything was multiple choice or everything was like fill in the blank, but they were looking for a specific answer, right? But if you go down to the very bottom of the page, and I remember this, there's a little section, maybe like this big, and it said critical thinking, and it gave you like a scenario and what you would think or what you would do in that situation. But, like, that was it. There was no deep dive or critical thing like, that wasn't, like, the common thing. There'd be,
Mm,
like, a little section for critical thinking, and that would be it. And it's just crazy how, like, school, even that conditions us to be like,
yeah,
"Hey, just follow the rules, just be a good little boy, stay in class, raise your hand, be quiet, like, don't get out of line." And even that, at a young age, we're kind of conditioned to, like, be submissive, to not go outside of the norms.
absolutely, man. It starts from the moment like you enter into those public schooling systems, bro. That's why
Yeah.
when I'm when I become a father, I'm not putting him into public schools. I'm going to homeschool him, teach him real values and morals, and teach him what's right, man. What actually
Yeah.
matters. I just remember sitting in school and sitting for hours just learning the most pointless stuff that I'll never even use for the rest
Pointless.
of my life, man. And I had to
Mhm,
sit down in a chair for, you know, hours on end each day. Then I had to go home and sit for more hours doing homework. And bro, it
mhm.
breeds effeminacy.
It
Yeah,
does.
this is why the modern man is the way he is today.
Mhm. Yeah, and, like, and it, like, takes guys like us who would look at that and be like, "This doesn't seem right." and,
Mm.
like, we would question things, and I remember I would always do that. I would be like, "This is stupid. Why am I doing this?"
Yeah.
Or, like, um, would be like, "Why am I learning this if I'm never gonna use this information in my entire life?" And, like, it takes that, um call it rebellion. It's not even really rebellion. It's just, like, when you see stupid authority being like, "Why would I wanna follow this? This is, like, dumb."
Mm.
And, like, Jordan Peterson says this perfectly. He's like, when he has kids, I think he might actually even have kids now, but he says that, he instructs young people to follow the rules, but to not follow stupid rules. And he was like I was, like, laughing because 'cause I'm like, "This is amazing," because that's pretty much what I do. Like, I'm very much like, I understand order, I know how important it is to be
Mm.
structured and stuff, but at the same time, if it's coming from a place of, like, "This doesn't make any common sense," like, it's just stupid, like, I'm not gonna follow something that doesn't serve me or is
Yeah.
something, like, completely ridiculous, like, obviously, I'm not gonna get too much into the whole situation a couple years ago. I think we all know what was going on,
Mm.
but
The real G's know what we're talking about.
dude, for real, like, the real dudes that are, like, conscious to this stuff are like, "Why would I follow this? It makes no freaking sense." And then you get all these people coming at you like, "Well, you're doing this, you're saving lives, and it's for the betterment of people." I'm like,
Mm.
"Is it?" So, I don't know, we don't
Mm.
have to go down that rabbit hole, but, this is an example of, like, when the authority in question is very much like you don't really think that what they're telling you is, righteous or it's very helpful in, a global sense. It's like, why am I doing this? Like, you have to almost
Mm.
question everything that you are getting or receiving.
Yep. Yeah. Most most men are effeminate, and it leads them to becoming like sheep minded. So they just eat this up, man. They just follow it, and they don't really question it too much. This is why it is very important for all men today to focus on achieving masculinity, achieving like becoming like a real man. Yeah,
Yeah.
and a good point, man. A good way to do that really is to focus on boosting testosterone. I feel like that kind of starts the ripple effect.
Mhm.
It's very important,
100%.
and there's a whole loophole in that as well. Like most of the things the modern mainstream promotes actually decreases our testosterone. Yeah, so it's very important that we all look into that as
Yeah.
well.
That's a whole other topic too, how,
Yeah,
testosterone has been in the last, like, what, 20 some years has been, like, decreasing every single year.
yeah.
So that's a whole other thing too. I wanna pull up this comment that just showed up, and this is the stuff that just, like, makes me laugh. It says, "Wow, this whole stream is about misogyny and the patriarchy." I just laugh when I see stuff like this because anytime you talk about men's improvement, immediately
Mm,
it's misogyny. Immediately, it's
yeah.
a negative thing. So,
Aaron, would you like to explain how exactly we are misogynistic?
I would love to hear that explanation
I'd love to
because
hear it.
love to hear it. And I swear every time you talk about anything involving, like, masculine virtues, values, positive, like, healthy masculinity, you're immediately labeled as, like, a misogynist
Mm,
or it's like, "Oh, it's
yeah.
the patriarchy, this is evil." Most people this is the funny thing, most people don't even know what the patriarchy is. They heard it
Yeah,
somewhere and they saw it on TV and they're like, "Uh-oh, this is negative. It's
yeah.
patriarchy." It's like, you even know what that truly is? It literally and I had to do some research about this because I was like didn't know what it was for a while, right? So I looked up what patriarchy actually is. It's literally just the male leader of a tribe.
Mm.
That's it.
And bro, if you look at the natural biology of things, men are just more of a natural leader. Aaron's probably looking at me right now, ready to type another hateful comment, but
Literally.
look, it's just the truth to it. Like whether you don't want to accept it or not, it's it's the truth. Men are just more capable of leading rather than females. Females are the more empathetic. We're not saying females are bad. Yeah.
No.
Females are beautiful in their own way. Females are great in their own way. They've got many specialities, many things that they can do better than us men. Yeah. For example, they
Exactly.
can nurture and care for individuals much more, much
Mhm.
greater than men. Yeah. They've got a better ability to almost connect with people and to, yeah, man, just be like, they can brighten up people's day much better than men can.
Yeah.
Well, I've got no hate toward, I've got no hard feelings towards people like this. It's just they lack knowledge. Yeah, they lack
Yeah.
the wisdom. They haven't really looked too far into it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's just misinformation, unfortunately, and, like, this is never anytime that we're like I'm sure there are guys that talk about women in a negative light, but you'll never catch one of us doing that. I think
Yeah.
there's so many beautiful, positive things from feminine women, and, like, men and women are different, but that doesn't mean that we're, like, better or worse than another. I've never thought that. There's always positives to both sides of things, and I had another example where I was talking about something like that yesterday. Same type of thing. Somebody reached out to me, was like, uh, "This is, like, very misogynistic. This is very
Mm.
one-sided, how I was a crazy person talking about this." And I was like, "Well, like, I'm not even talking out of like, this isn't opinions. Like, I'm just speaking biological evolutionary facts. Like, I'm not saying anything that's trying to piss you off,
Yeah.
but this is it's just you can't deny reality." And, like, this is, Aaron says something else here. It should be a matriarchy. That's why this world is such a mess. And what's funny about that is because okay, so we can go on a whole rabbit hole with that, to be honest with you. The reason the world is the way it is right now is because we don't have patriarchy, is because men are not in a position to have good leadership. And it's name one time where matriarchy actually worked
Bro, I cannot think of a
in
single
history.
time, man. I cannot think of a single time.
Never.
Never works, bro. It doesn't. And people don't really, I notice a lot of people today, they don't really look through history. And I like the quote, if you do not know history, you are doomed to repeat it in a
Yeah,
way. And
exactly.
that's just important to keep in mind as well.
Hmm.
Bro, we're just providing a space for men to improve. The modern narrative today is putting men down so much, man.
It is
Yeah, it's weakening the modern man, and we see this. Like, all I have to do is just bring up the suicide rates. Look how many men are killing themselves each day.
literally.
Yeah, and we're just out here providing a better way for men to live, an actual
Hmm.
like an actual natural way, a better way for us men to live. And unfortunately, these people are gonna be there to bring us down, but we just need to keep spreading our truth. Like, and
Hmm.
I liked one thing that David Hammond said before. Um, not too long ago, but he just said sooner or later these people will realize we're just speaking truth.
Exactly.
Yeah. A lot of men today, all right, they may be aggressive with you, they may try to fight back with you, but what's important is we just remain calm and composed and always just try to be nice because sooner or later they will see the truth. And if you're kind of going back aggressive at them, they'll never see the
Exactly.
truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll just go deeper into their feelings, their roots, and almost see you as an enemy.
Hmm.
And this probably happened with this lady, this woman here. Possibly other men just treated her badly, and she's just like, "Yep, no, I will never listen to these guys' beliefs before."
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there's an important point that you said in there, and I think we can take this two different ways. But I believe that a lot of the reason that women and even some men, I think, become very like aggressive and angry towards these things, and the fact that we talk about masculinity in a positive way is because they sometimes have a negative association with masculinity and masculine men. Like maybe a man treated them poorly in a past relationship. Maybe
Mm,
their father was a weak man. Maybe he was an abusive man. Maybe he was, I don't know, he treated them in some negative way. So like even at a young age, you're gonna associate everything that has to do with manhood with men in such a bad light. And like
right.
it's just unavoidable. If you're raised in that type of environment, then you're gonna always think, okay, men are scumbags, men do this, and like anything masculine is negative. Same thing could be said for men. Like if men are growing up in that type of environment where they have a weak father, an absent father, abusive father, they turn to things like violence. They turn to things like abuse, drug abuse. We talked about mental health. That's even something I bring up on my video. I'm actually gonna be dropping it tonight, where the suicide rates are like
Mm,
insane. Like it's not even close. Like men quadruple the suicide rates in the world, not even just in America, like globally, than women. And I was like shocked to see how much of a discrepancy it was. It wasn't even close. Like I think the study was done in 2019, and I have like the chart on my phone. I forget the exact numbers, but like literally it was like men's suicide rates were here, women were like way down here, and it wasn't even close. So
yeah.
It's nuts, man. We men need help. Men need a lot of help in today's society.
I fully agree, bro. I fully agree. And I've known people, not personally, man, but in my hometown, a literal small town, yeah. And I've known 3 or 4 people that have killed themselves, man. It's just so sad to
Mm,
hear.
that is sad.
It's happening all the time. I just hear it on the news constantly, man. It's too much. Like, we need to make a stand. Not too many people actually are. They care. Yeah, they'll post on their stories. Oh yeah, man. Here's a suicide hotline number for you to call. But they don't really care, bro. Let's just be
Mm,
honest. Yeah. What
no.
we're doing here is actually providing value. I feel like we're actually
Yeah.
giving men. I feel like we're giving men hope. We're giving men something to strive for. We're giving men actual, proper, solid advice to live their life by, and it will change you. Like, you're looking at somebody as like myself, and I can tell you from my own experience and my friends' experiences as well.
Hmm.
This is solid advice. These people just they don't realize it, and sooner or later you will realize it. So yeah,
Hmm.
just takes time.
It
Just
does.
takes time.
Everything takes time, and I wanna pull up the because she made one more comment that I want to pull up, and then I'll stop giving it attention because it really isn't worth arguing with someone that doesn't think the same. But she says there's never been a woman president of the U.S. The world will change drastically when a woman is in charge of the free world. And oh man, it just really makes me laugh that they think that like because women can be in charge that things are going to be better.
Mm,
Name me one society that has ever actually thrived when a woman was in charge, or any culture, any community, anything throughout history that was
yeah,
ever, and I'm not even being misogynistic, I'm just speaking facts. Name one culture that was ever led by a woman. I'll wait.
mm, yeah. And if there was, man, they all crumbled. You know what I
Literally.
noticed, man, as well, like in the modern world as well, when a female tries to rise to the top, what do? They take on masculine nature.
Masculine trait.
They essentially try to become a man. So
Exactly.
what you're saying is you just want a female in that role to act
Mhm.
like the man, yeah?
Mhm.
Because females by nature, yeah, they don't have those leading capabilities, yeah, what a man can do.
Mhm.
It's
And
just natural, bro.
it really is, and what's it's crazy because like, okay, so you put women in like a position of leadership or even CEOs. There's a lot of women CEOs today in the US, and that's not even that's a fact. I actually saw that up on a statistic. They have to become almost like more masculine in order to thrive in those roles, like
Mm,
having having structure, having that ability to lead, to go to work, and like I have a girlfriend right now who's very feminine, right? And she works her ass off. She's like a hustler. She's a real estate agent. She does things at like an eye doctor's appointment. She's driving and working all day freaking long. And she comes home to me in like, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, we try to hang out. She's physically tired by the end of the day. Now, I'm not saying like obviously you put in a lot of work, you're gonna be tired, but for feminine women to put on that masculine shield of being like go, 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 work, work, work all the time, she literally comes home and is like, oh my God, I'm just so drained, so
mm,
tired. But if she were to be in more of like her feminine essence all day, if she was to naturally be that and more nurturing, more loving, more caring, she would probably feel a lot different. Men are more like we're more like capable to deal with that type of like stress and that punishment day to day. So it's not like we're not saying that women are like less than men or like men are better than women or anything. It's never about that. It's just knowing what is true about how we're made biologically, psychologically, and just professionally how things work.
yep. Bro, that's facts, man. I notice feminine women, like, when they're in that environment, they get drained very, very easily. Like, men can just get into that tunnel vision mode and just go work, work, work.
Yeah.
And women can't as they can't do it as much as men, whether
Hmm.
you like to admit it or not. It's just the truth, unfortunately. Um,
Hmm.
but it goes both ways, you know. For a man to hang around with a load of women and just listening to them, whatever, talk about their things, talk about, I don't know, clothes, fashion, and whatever, man, whatever the topic is, bro. That can
Mhm.
that's probably going to be draining as well. Like we're not really providing that space for women and advice or whatnot. So I don't really know too much about what values I can provide for you. So I think it's important that women find like proper feminine people to be around and get into their feminine nature. That's all I really got to say about that. But yeah,
Mhm.
we're focusing on the masculinity, the manhood side of things now. So
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the way that has worked for thousands and thousands of years, and it'll continue to work. And it's funny because like there's the last thing I'll say about it, just because it's like a whole other discussion that we can get into. But I made a
yeah,
post yesterday, and somebody was coming at me with the same thing, and I was talking about how like looks. I was talking about like, do looks matter for men? And I was under the belief that like looks don't 100% matter for men. Like they matter to a point. Like your presentation, how your appearance, how they matter to like to a potential employer, to a boss, to a woman. Like it matters to get your foot in the door. Like, oh, this guy is professional. He looks like a person who's safe and etc. But like your looks, like your height, your face shape, like that kind of stuff doesn't really matter. And I was saying how with women, it does matter a little bit more when it comes to reproduction and survival. Like your beauty is literally what like draws you in a potential mate. And like that's always kind of been the way it was. I was trying to explain this to this person who was like saying I was a nutcase because I was like, you're misogynistic, blah, blah, blah. And they said women aren't hardwired to reproduce. They're not hardwired. They are not required to have kids, and men aren't required to like provide resources and blah, blah, blah. I said, women aren't hardwired to have kids. Why do they have periods every single month then? Like you're
mm,
literally like their bodies are literally made to produce children. Like you're just talking because you want to argue. Like some people don't have anything to back up their claims.
yeah,
It's just nuts.
absolutely, man. Yeah, like you can go deep into this and look into the reasons why they want women to not be, you know, traditional, not be in their natural femininity. Yeah,
Yeah.
they essentially want to tax us all. They want us all to be, like modern slaves and all working off the system. They want the government to become, essentially like our dads. We're going further and further towards that with each day.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, man, like hey, like most of these problems that we brought up with females and men and crime rates and whatnot.
Yeah.
If you literally, right, you know, what's the word I'm looking for here? I'm going a little bit blank, bro, but if you like it, okay, right. To control a society, you control the father figure. All right. Everything
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
everything from society starts with like the father figure, right? If you
Mhm.
can degenerate that man, that will ripple into the kids' lives, and then that will, continue to create a ripple effect, a domino effect.
Yep.
So if you provide value to the man, like, and essentially show him how to become a proper dad, a proper leader, a proper person, a proper man, this will bleed into society in so many ways that these people don't even realize.
Mhm.
Yeah. I went a little
Oh,
bit
man,
blank there, bro, but
yeah. No, it creates a crazy ripple effect that like if you have a strong father that has good values, good morals, good ethics, he knows how to
mm,
lead, he knows how to provide, protect his family, that bleeds over into the children. And then that like it teaches boys actually how to know what a good man looks like. It teaches women how to know what a good man looks like to be like, oh, this is the kind of guy I want to get with. This is the kind of man I want to start a family with. Is like a guy like my father. So it's very,
yeah.
very important. Um, and I, like you said, man, it's something that is kind of not as popular as it should be. It's not as like celebrated as it should be. Like the whole role of being a father. Um, it's like it's just a good mentor. Like men need mentors. Men need a figure to look up to when it comes to becoming mature and being um, more capable and more strong. Which ties in perfectly, I think, to the topic that we were originally talking about. Is like that mature manhood. Um, you got to have somebody you look up to, and it could be somebody who's it could be God, it could be your interpretation of God, it could be your boss, it could be a friend, a colleague, but someone who's like not above you in terms of like they're better than you, but someone who is like literally just done more than you, learned more than you, knows more than you. Every guy needs that. I think that mentor or that coach. That's why I got into coaching. Every person really needs that too. Someone above them to teach them and to show them the way. So that's a really important piece to manhood, I think.
Absolutely, bro. And kids by nature as well are just, they're like a sponge. They'll soak up everything. They're very influenced, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, definitely.
So it's very important to have the right people in their lives at that young age, a proper family, a mother, a mother, a mother and a father present in the
Yeah,
family. The modern society is it makes there's so many like the divorce rates. Yeah, if you look at the studies in that
insane.
itself, man, it should show you like the society is not in a good place right now,
Mm-mm.
and we should definitely return back to tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, like I'm convinced most of these people don't really listen to what we say in full because yeah, we can keep recycling what we say and over again. So it's up to them
Mm-hmm.
if they want to listen.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like nothing that we're saying is like revolutionary, just new information. Like it's been done before, it's been said
Yeah.
before, it's been tried before. We just have our own like perspective on it, and we're just telling you from our own experiences in life how it's helped us, how it's valued us in life. And that's all we can do is just to help guys kind of just become the best versions of themselves. That's why I started my channel. I'm sure that's why you started your channel. So it's all to give back. I think once you, and that's another thing I think that ties perfectly into the topic is like when you become a man, when you step into manhood, it's contributing. It's giving back to others, helping others kind of rise up, much like you helped yourself. So it's like you can't. It's like the saying goes, like you can't give from an empty cup, which is why we talk about men being, putting themselves first and like working on themselves, working on a mission, working on a goal, improving their lifestyle. So you can then give it back to others and you can give more and provide more resources and information and wisdom to others because you can't do that if you didn't get yourself sorted out first.
Mm. Yeah, bro. Facts, man. Fully agree with that. Great point. Great points we brought up, man.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think there's a lot of value in this here today, bro.
I think so.
Definitely. People should watch it in full. If you're receiving that cognitive dissonance, make sure you just, make sure you go back, listen to our points that we brought up. I think like
Mm.
we summed a lot of good stuff up here today, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else that like we could bring in here now?
I mean, there's probably a couple different ways we can take it. One thing that I think I'll end it on because we're almost at the top of the hour, but I will make this kind of quick with it, but it's like just having that rite of passage. And I think that's
Mm.
essentially what we're talking about in to kind of sum up everything as like guys need to go through that path, that uncomfortable space, that thing that challenges them, that passage because that doesn't happen in modern society anymore. As like men are just kind of expected to like, we say that you have sex with a woman, you lose your virginity, now you're a man. But like that doesn't do anything. You're still the same dude. You have the same mindset. You have the same resources available. You don't actually improve yourself if that's what you do. If that's how you think matures you as a man, it doesn't. You have to go through some type of challenge, some type of passage, and it could be very unique to you. Like maybe it's starting your business, maybe it's doing a 5K race, maybe it's training for a marathon, or you know, um, putting yourself in the wilderness for a weekend with no phones, nothing, just kind of like being out in nature. It's just anything
Yeah.
that kind of prepares you for dealing with being uncomfortable, I think is massively important for men to do.
Yeah. Have you ever watched the TV show Vikings?
No, I've seen a lot of previews about it, but I've never watched it.
Well, there's one part in the episodes where there's a boy, his name is Bjorn, and he wants to essentially become a man. Yeah.
Mm,
I can't remember all the details though, but I believe he was feeling weak and whatnot. He was essentially a boy. So what did he do? He ventured out into the wilderness, into the wild,
mm,
to prove to himself like that he can do this, that he's a man, he can live up, to his father's expectations, right?
yeah.
And he went out on this rite of passage and he fought a bear, yeah, and he was out in the wilderness. and he came back a man. Yeah, his beard was bigger. He walked stronger. He was just more capable and more sure of himself. He had that confidence in his step, and he just came back to the village, and everybody was looking at him like he was a new man. And it's very important that we have this, man. Very
Hmm.
important.
Very. Yeah, and again, it's anything that you can uniquely do yourself. Like we're not telling you to go into the woods and start fighting a bear yourself. Like you don't got to
Nah,
do
nah.
that. But anything. It could be any. I mean, for me, it was starting entrepreneurship, like getting into YouTube, making content, building my business, or my coaching business, helping men. Like that was my journey. I'm sure yours was similar in a certain way too, but every guy has his path, his challenging path, actually, I should say, to grow and to become better. It's like it's the hero's call to adventure. I think what we're referencing is like every
Mm,
guy
yep.
needs that journey, needs that path to become, the hero. Like in the movie, like he's going through his trials, tribulations, but on the other side, he learns, he grows, he evolves, and you're better off for it.
Absolutely, bro. Like we all have a path that we were, that we're going to be guided towards. I like something that Elliot Holtz brought up. Like, if you do not know what your purpose is, it's usually like right in front of your eyes. So,
Yeah,
like, what are you essentially good at? What have you been doing most of your life? Me,
right.
for example, I always like giving advice to people when I learn something. I'd love to just help others, help my friends grow and whatnot. So,
Hmm.
created this channel. Yeah, it was right in front of my eyes the whole time. So,
Yeah,
keep God close, keep praying, and your purpose will be revealed to you.
yeah.
And yeah, delve into that rite of passage. It will give you that full confidence. I hate this, modern narrative of like just fake it till you make it, fake being confident. I don't really agree with that in my eyes, because I think
Mhm.
true confidence comes from, stacking those wins, becoming a capable man, and actually having that on your back. Like, yeah, look what I've got. I've done this, I've done this, and now you're sure of yourself. David
Mhm.
Goggins bring this up. He brings this up a lot. Why he's able to go further and further. That man is an absolute beast. Yeah, and he
Mhm.
says before, just like when you're in those hard times, just think about what you've achieved already. So you need to start off with that first rite of passage. Face your fears. Go full on in it, because you do not want to, get older and look back at your life and be like, yo, I never faced anything. I let
Exactly.
my life pass me. I was controlled by my fears.
Mm.
So yeah.
Agreed. I agree. Yeah, the worst thing you can do is live with regret and be at the end of your life and be like, "Man, I didn't do anything. I didn't challenge myself. I didn't grow. I didn't learn. I didn't make mistakes." Because like that's something that I think every guy is afraid to do is like to be judged, to fail, to look stupid in front of others. But like that's just a path to success, and you can't bypass that. You can't maneuver around it. You have to go through it in order to really achieve anything. Um, so it's an invaluable step that every guy needs to do.
Yep. Yeah, fail a lot, man.
Fail.
Like, I'm gonna say it out here right now, like, I'm a failure. I've failed so many times, man, but I'm proud of that because of the
Mhm.
amount of knowledge and wisdom that I've gained from it. Because if I stayed in my room all day and did nothing, man, I'd be in the exact same spot. But I got out there and I failed and failed. A lot of people don't want to fail today, bro. But yeah,
Exactly.
people may laugh at you here and now, but you gotta stay true to yourself. Stay true to your mission. Like, yo, I'm on the right path. I may be failing now, but I'm learning from this. I'm growing,
Mhm.
getting better each and every single day. And this is the mindset that you have to hold through life. Life will try to beat you down, but becoming that man is about embracing it, rolling with the punches, and keep
Mhm.
moving forward.
100%, man. I think that's a perfect way to wrap it up, man, and kind of close out what we were saying. And I agree wholeheartedly. I think we brought up a lot of good points. Obviously, if you're
Yeah.
just joining now or you joined a little bit later in the stream, go back and watch it. The recording obviously will be on my channel, but there's a lot of nuggets, a lot of good, valuable information that we talked about in this stream. So go back and watch it a couple times because the first time you see it, you probably forget some things. Probably
Yeah.
won't will go through the whole way. So give it a couple runs and then obviously apply the stuff. Don't just listen to it and be like, oh, well, cool, whatever. Go apply it because that's how information is truly transmuted into something valuable. You have to apply the things that we're saying here because they will, excuse me, because they will help you. So,
Mm.
yeah, man. If anybody wanted to dive a little bit more into your content and what you got going on, where can people find you?
Yeah, so I've got a channel. It's called Outlier, but if you search up Outlier, it won't come up. So maybe search up Outlier Male. It used to be my old YouTube channel name, and I changed it to just Outlier. So if you search up Outlier Male, my channel should come up. And I also have a podcast channel, and that's called Gatekeepers Podcast. We bring on guests and talk about this sort of content a lot. And yeah, we just dive deep each week. And yeah, man, that's
Love
me.
it. Love it. Yeah, and if you guys want to check it out, I'll leave I'll leave all his links down below as well if you guys want to see it. Obviously my channel, give it a thumbs up, comment your thoughts down below, all that fun YouTube stuff. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet. You know where to find me. All my links are there. And yeah, guys, it was a fun, awesome conversation. I want to thank Outlier for hopping on the stream. It was definitely a good value-packed conversation. And hopefully I'll have you on sometime in the future.
Absolutely, bro. I'm always willing to hop on, bro. This was very valuable and yeah, great episode, man. I love this. I love this.
Yeah, man. Same here. Cool, guys. Well, we're gonna hop off and get some things finished, but and finish for the day. But catch you guys in the next stream. I try to do these at least weekly, so every Saturday I'm gonna be hopping on a stream with somebody. So make sure you tune in next weekend, and we'll catch y'all next week.
Peace.